and CEO at SaleSqueze, and our mission at SaleSqueze is to help manufacturers of highly configurable products to create profitable online sales experiences for their customers. And today I'm going to walk you through how an online sales channel for tiny houses, sheds, modular houses works, and how you can use it to generate, let's say, 200 to 500 leads per month worth 3 to 5 million euros. I'm going to share the exact steps that we used or we take with one of our customers to build a very profitable channel around this. So I'll show you all the critical components and how we connect them together in order to get really, really good results out of this entire experience. So let's start with probably your existing state. So majority of companies create a website for their products where they present their products, and this usually converts through a contact form. And let's look at why this is not performing so well, and then I will explain why configurators perform at least 10 times better. So the inquiry or contact form has a very low conversion because there's nothing visual about it. It's just the customer inputting some information. And usually the next step that follows is a sales call. And nobody wants to have sales calls, especially not in these days where the Amazon effect is practically present everywhere. Customers can't visualize the product, and the extensive sales follow-up and work that is needed to close the deal makes the entire process very, very slow and not user-friendly. So it usually takes weeks for the customer and for your company to get to the final quote and collect the order from the customer. So all of the effort and money that you put into creating your products should be matched on the experience that you provide in sales also. So configurators are a great way to do it. The configurator usually has at least 10 to 20x higher conversion. So our average configurator converts at around 10%. So website visitor to lead. It provides a superior buying experience where customers can visualize the product that they are buying and select all the options that they want. And it has a positive effect on the average order value or the average lead value. So not selling custom variants or not selling fixed variants, but selling a more customized product with a lot of add-ons that the users actually want will increase your order value at the end. The configurator also enables automated and one-click inquiry process for your sales team. So it's really fast. You can respond to the market instantly, and customers get all the information they need in a matter of seconds after they submit an inquiry. So I will show you exactly how to build this, how to deploy it, and how to use it. So, but it's a common practice that good product configurators are very expensive and very time consuming, right? So it takes a lot of time to prepare all the materials, to build them, and it costs a lot of money. Yeah, that used to be right, but it's not with SaleSqueze. So I actually built a configurator for a prefab house in less than 10 minutes, and I would like to invite you to check my video on the YouTube channel where you can see exactly how this is done. And you can see the link below it. You can click on it, and it's also going to be available in the comment section later on. So you can take a look how to build a configurator for your product very, very simply and easily with the SaleSqueze platform. It involves 6 critical steps. So first one is to log into the SaleSqueze Studio application. You can then import all the product options and prices for all the components of your products. You can very easily create a visual configuration model, add rules and business logic to it, and then drag and drop the layout and design of the configurator together. And then the final step is just to embed it on your website. So everything, the entire process I just described, you can find in a 10-minute video that's going to show you exactly how to do it. So we now have the configurator set up and ready to use, and we can start building an online channel around it. And the primary goal of this is to start generating leads, with a lot less cost and a lot more efficiently. So, like I mentioned in the beginning, the critical components of this channel are basically four. So, the first one is you need to have some sort of advertising or some sort of way to drive traffic to your product page. And then the second part is how to create or how to design a good product page that actually gives you the results that you want. You then embed the configurator on your product page and you use it to capture leads at a much higher um, level or much higher conversion rate than you are used to with contact forms. And the last part is sending out interactive quotes with detailed tracking and analytics so you know exactly which users are considering the purchase or are ready to be followed up by your sales team. So the funnel that we build around this configurator is usually very simple. So like I mentioned, it has four critical components. So the advertising part, the product website, the configurator, and the quotation. And the advertising strategy is also very simple and very common sense. So it uses the initial campaigns to drive the traffic to the product website, and then based on the actions that the users do, we put them into several different buckets for retargeting and pushing them throughout the entire funnel. Um, you can screenshot this, or you will have the chance later on to get the entire blueprint for this entire funnel architecture. And the next step is how to build a top performing product page. So at SaleSqueze, we usually promote the structure of the product landing page that follows the proven framework. So over the years, we've developed a proprietary framework for building product pages that answer all the questions that the user might have about this product, and they act as a filter to filter out all of those that are not fit for your product and your sales process. So we, in turn, help you filter out everybody that's not fit to what you're doing and make it very easy and very attractive for all the rest to follow. I will provide the possibility for you to get this landing page framework later on. But for this point in time, it's very important that it uses very simple language, displays the product benefits, how it's used, why somebody should have it, and uses a mix of visual and interactive elements in the website to do a good product presentation. So the top performing product page should convert at around 30 to 40%. So all the visitors that come from the advertising should convert at around 40%. And that's a benchmark for a well-performing product page. We have some pages that perform up to 68%, but the average that you are looking for is around 40% to make the entire channel profitable and performing well. The next thing is the call to action. So we've experimented quite a lot with a good call to actions to place on your website. But what works for us best is the following list. So how to take the visitor from the landing page to the product configurator is usually one of these call to actions. So get an instant quote, get a price, configure yours, build your own house, and you can use this list to experiment a little bit and see what works best for you. So like I mentioned, the page should convert at around 40%, and a lot of it depends on what you put in your call to action button to actually get the user to the next step, which is the product configurator. So how does it work? On the high level, it's ads, it's landing page, it's configurator, and we use this to capture the demand, and you can check the demand for the prefabricated house using Google Trends. And if you do that, it looks kind of like this. So you can play around, you can try different keywords, so you will see the exact demand for your product. So in terms of how much search volume exists in Google and what's the prediction for the future that the Google gives you. So you can play around with the numbers that are needed to make your channel profitable. And here's how to capture that demand. So here's the logic of the advertising that we used to generate a significant amount of traffic and then convert this traffic to leads. So when we capture the visitors through websites, through advertising, we then drive them to websites, and everybody that doesn't pass the website is so-called bucket one. So they were interested but didn't perform any action, and we can then retarget this group specifically with a certain message. For example, you forgot to configure your house, we can then redirect them directly to the configurator. So skipping the landing page and going directly to the configurator. This increases our chances to convert more leads, and retargeting is usually a lot cheaper than just general advertising. The next bucket is interested, but they didn't finish the configuration. So we create another bucket for this kind of customers and retarget them with a different message. So want to continue your configuration, and you can then drive them directly back to their pre-existing configuration in the configurator. And the last bucket is the bucket 3, which we call potential customers. And we can use this bucket. So this is everyone that submitted an inquiry. So we know their information, they know what they want. And this is exactly the kind of people that we would like to have more of. And we can use this information to tell the advertising networks what kind of customers we are actually looking at and what kind of customers we want to drive down our funnel, which in turn makes advertising a lot cheaper and a lot more targeted only to the customers that resonate with your message and your product. And this is generally applicable to any product that you are selling. So it's not just prefabricated houses, but everything. So all the products, this is how usually targeted advertising is functioning. So here's a picture of how it looks like to capture that market demand. So the picture is for Slovenia and the 2 neighboring markets, so Austria and Croatia. And here's an example of a manufacturer that is producing garden sheds, and his ability to capture majority of demand that existed on the market through a product configurator, and the numbers that the company is generating are pretty significant. So it's a totally automated and self-sustainable marketing and sales channel that you only have to put money in at the beginning, and then it operates on conversion rates and statistics and brings results consistently. So if we talk about your existing funnel, so majority of companies use a website, some sort of advertising, and a contact form, and these are the usual numbers. So if you spend like 1,500 euros per month to display ads to people, and this is the usual, let's say, price per visit, so 0.5 euros per visit, you will get around 3,000 visits. And if you have a decent website, it's going to convert at around 40%. So that means out of 3,000 visitors, you will get 1,000 visitors continuing on to the contact form. And that's going to bring your cost per visitor to 1.25 euros. And if we take an optimistic conversion rate for a contact form, it's usually around 1%. Which will give you 12 leads at the end. So your cost per lead goes up to 125 euros, and you're going to get around 240,000 euros in lead value. And if you then have a 10% sales close rate, you will close 1 lead out of this 12 into a deal. So this will bring the cost per deal to around 1,500. So the, let's say, average price for a prefabricated small house is around 20,000 euros. So that's your end result of this funnel. So spending 1,000 and 500 euros in marketing, in advertising, and generating 20,000 euros in sales. So if we modify just two parameters or just one parameter by adding the configurator into the picture, the entire funnel changes significantly. So we kept the first three steps at this, so we kept them the same as they were before. So you're still at €1.25 per configurator visit, but this time the configurator converts at an average 10.2%, and the leads you are generating are 120, and you are getting 2.4 million in lead value that you can measure because the system automatically applies pricing and everything. So you get the exact lead value for every lead. And if you keep the same sales close rate, you're going to close 20 deals, which will bring your cost per deal down to 125 euros, which is a lot more pleasant number to work with, and a good value metric to build your business around. So in this case, the total deals that you're going to be closing is 240,000 euros, which is a, let's say, 1,000% improvement from what you did before. So the comparison, yeah, we can close usually at least 1,000 more leads, so we can increase the lead generation for at least 500%, but it's usually a lot higher. And the numbers in the sales channel are completely different. If you introduce a product configurator with great customer experience, with visuals, product visuals, and everything is automated and instantly available to the customer. So these three configurator benefits usually bring most of the value in this sales channel. So you now have a consistent flow of leads. You can use that to make your business never struggle for leads again. But the next question is, how do you turn them into customers? So generating thousands and thousands of leads is one thing, but you still have to sell the product at the end. And this is usually a big question, how to do it. So the answer is, one of the most important things is by being fast. So like we saw in the beginning, and we work with quite a lot of manufacturers, and usually it takes at least a week or even more for the sales team to pick up an incoming lead and start communicating with them in order to be able to get them a quotation. By using a configurator, you know exactly what the customer wants, and you can automate this process entirely. So I'm just going to switch to the configurator that we built in the YouTube series, and I'm going to show you how you can use the SaleSqueze platform to process leads automatically, or at least extremely fast in your sales. So we prepared a simple landing page that has the configurator embedded, and if you click on it, it's gonna bring you to a very simple version of this prefabricated house configurator. So I'm gonna select the premium version, and this automatically pre-selects some options for us and calculates the price directly. You can either show the price or hide the price. That's entirely under your discretion. But for this case, we decided we're gonna show the price to the customer, and I'm just gonna select some options, add this to my inquiry, and submit an inquiry. So yeah, that's basically it. I want to request a quotation for this house. Okay, now the customer gets a inquiry summary, so they can see what they asked for. They can see the selections that they made, and this information is transferred to your sales dashboard. If I refresh my sales dashboard, the inquiry is now visible, and I can immediately start with the quote preparation in sales. So I can click the prepare the quote button, just set some validity dates, add some discounts to this product, so let's say 10%. And when I'm ready, I can say, okay, I want to send this now. Here's your quote. send it to the customer, and here you have it. So took me 1 minute to send this to the customer. They have a detailed explanation of what they uh, inquired for. They get a quotation, they get a discount, and if they're ready, they can also confirm the quotation online, share it with whomever they want, or decline it so you know that you are not following this customer anymore. The next thing that is also really important, like I mentioned in the beginning, so whenever we send out a quotation, it's what we call an interactive quotation. And what this does is it helps you in sales track the activities that the customer is taking. So first step is we are tracking if the quote was successfully sent to the customer, and the second thing that we are tracking is if the customer opened this quotation. So you can see when they opened it and how many times they opened it in order to detect which customers are more active. The system in the background automatically tracks the activities that the customers are doing with the quote and how much time they spent looking at the quote, if they shared it with somebody. So all these activities at the end are calculated together to form a what we call a lead score. And once the lead score reaches a certain threshold, this fire lights up here, and this is telling you that the customer is very actively engaging with the quote, and your sales team should follow up to try to close the order as soon as possible. So these are all little sales intelligence helpers that help you navigate the vast amount of quotes once you start generating 200 to 500 per month. Okay, and now the last part, I'm going to walk you through a short case study of how we helped a prefabricated house manufacturer generate 133 million of online leads in 24 months. So the company in question is Mizarsko Hrovat, and they're a Slovenian-based and family-run company. They are producing a very innovative and a very nicely designed product, Kubi houses. So this is a garden house. Some people use it as a shed. Some people use it as the man cave. Some people use it as the garden office. So it has quite a lot of use cases and quite a lot of possible designs. But it's a totally configurable product. It's standardized in many ways, and they use an online channel only to do sales. So they don't have any in-person sales. They only do online sales process through a product configurator. So the challenges they had is the first one was very slow and manual sales process. So customers were waiting forever to receive a quotation. Then, transferring the order once it came to the production line was also very manual and slow, and a lot of errors occurred in between. And 60% of the sales team workload was actually geared towards quoting. So they spend around 60 minutes per quote. In this process, they made a lot of error. They missed a lot of inquiries or didn't want to process them, and they did a lot of quoting and pricing mistake. The experience for the customers was very poor, and they didn't have any ability to scale outside of Slovenia because if you take a slow and manual process that has quite a lot of barriers and try to scale it outside of your borders, it's going to fail miserably and it's going to cost you a lot of money. And at the end, 90% of quotes were lost anyway, but somebody still had to do all of them in order to get that 10%. So we built kind of the same funnel that I was explaining you. So they used video, they used websites, they used SEO, they used advertising to drive traffic to their channel, to their website. And then on the website, they use configurator to a very simple configurator to convert the visitors into leads. And then afterwards, they first launch a very detailed follow-up campaign that is totally automated in order to bring the leads up to a certain level of activity. And those that reach a certain level of activity are then followed up directly by the sales team. So the challenges that configurator helps solve are basically it provides a great user experience. Everything is visual, it's self-service, and the customer can return to the configurator to create different variations of the configuration and also see different price points. So this is very important when customer is exploring to reach that price performance solution that they are searching for, the ability to return to the configuration and start changing stuff to see how it influences pricing. So it's either they do it by themselves or you have to do it um, in the sales process, which is manual and inefficient. So the next thing is the 10 times increased efficiency in sales. So we removed all the manual work in the first process, the first steps of the sales process, replacing it with self-service and automated quoting. And this allows the sales team to focus only on collecting orders, not on the quoting process anymore. And we also made it very easy to translate the entire experience to different language so they could easily start expanding on the neighboring market. So German language for the Austrian market and Croatian language for Croatia. And they built a predictable and constant flow of new and ready to buy leads. So if you generate 300 leads per month consistently every month, then you have different problems to deal with than sales. And the results, so in 24 months, we sent out 10,800 quotes, totaling to around 133 million euros. The number of leads increased in those 24 months by 400%, and the average annual growth of leads is around 50%. So we saved at least 60 minutes or 1 hour per sales opportunity because the quotations were automated. And in that 24-month period, they generated 340 leads per month on average, which is a very, very good result. So here's a short testimonial from Yaka, who's the CEO and one of the owners of the company. And he's the guy responsible for building this entire funnel. Um, so how can you know if this would work with your products? Well, we usually use this checklist to help you assess. So your product needs to be complex and customizable, so it has to have at least 4 customizable parts. You process inquiries, quotes, and orders manually or semi-automatically. So, and you have the vision to automate this. Your competitors are growing faster and you want to change that. So we work with quite a lot of modular house manufacturers, and some of them are really money printing machines, while some of them are not yet, but are on a good way to becoming that. Customers have a hard time understanding the product, not in terms of what your product is, but how it can be configured to fit their exact use case. So it's a house, but I want to make it a sauna on my garden. I want to make it a new garden office. So how can you achieve that? Customers must have a visual way to do that by themselves. And then the aha moment happens. And then the product price is above 5,000 euros. So that's to make the entire funnel worth investing in. The product price must be above 5,000 euros. And here's how to begin. So I would like to invite you to book a demo call with us. We're going to walk you through the entire process step by step on your specific use case. We can also do a personalized demo for your specific product so you can see what's possible. And then you help us prepare the product data, so the images and options and pricing. We use that to build your configurator and then also help you to build your entire sales channel. And all that can be done in just 30 days. So 30 days from now, you could be up and running with this system and start optimizing it to really make it perform. So the next step here, if you want, book a demo with us. We're going to assign somebody from our configuration and customer success team to walk you through the entire process and figure out what's the best solution for your use case. And for the first five that book a demo, we prepared something special. So we're gonna give you the detailed case study of this specific uh, uh, case that I was explaining. So you will see exactly what they did, what kind of challenges they had, and how they solved them. We're going to give you access to our product page framework so you can start building or remodeling your product pages to make them perform really well. And the last part is you're going to also receive our 60-page how-to guide that covers this entire funnel step by step with all the instructions that you need to build it out for yourself. So now it's the time for questions and answers. And I'll be happy to look at the comments and answer some questions. So the first one, we are building real houses ranging from 70K to 1.2 million. Plus, we are not showing our prices on the website. Could that still work with your system? Of course. So what we do is you don't have to show prices. You don't have to show anything to the customer. We do a lot of experience configurators. So if your product is somewhat standardized and you are able to bring it online, then it makes a lot of sense because it's going to act as a self-service channel for your customers, and it's going to give you a lot of clarity in the sales process of what customers want. This kind of system, it's not suitable for let's say custom built projects where things cannot be predefined, because that's usually too hard to standardize, and it's usually too hard to cover all the possible options that are available to the customers. Okay, the next one. Does the configurator work with a building consisting out of several modules apartments? Okay. Yes, it actually might. I would be very interested to look into this product a bit more. We do quite a lot of modular construction and modular production, so combining modules together is usually how this kind of products are assembled in production lines. So we use the same process in sales also. Okay, when it comes to visualizations, do we need to provide it, or you could also prepare it for us? That really depends. So what we do usually to kickstart the sales process is we use images. Why? Because they are very easy to prepare on your side, and we are really moving a lot faster if we just start with images. And images still provide 90% of the experience. So we just select the correct image based on the configuration parameters. And then after a while, when we make the funnel perform well, we then start adding different visualizations. So we can either add 3D models, we can either add 2D, but it doesn't make sense to start with this right up front, because you can still build a highly performing channel out of just pure images. So the case study I was showing you doesn't show 3D models. It's just a simple 2D drawing of the house, and it performs really, really well. So idea is price performance also on our side. So if the first point is to build the funnel and make it function, and then start improving the experience. Should we spend 1,500 euros in ads for one channel like Facebook, or can we spend the money in more channels but the same amount? So what is the biggest question about advertising is not where you spend it, but how you spend it. So if you track your funnel correctly, and if you know how much you're willing to spend per lead, per deal, then it makes sense to start doing it where your customers are actually hanging out. So I suggest usually that you start with one channel and really master this channel, because spending 1,500 euros on Facebook versus spending it on 5 networks, it makes a lot more sense to be focused on one network. So hopefully that answered your question. So I would go with one advertising network, make that work, reach a very good price per lead and price per deal, learn how to measure that, and then start optimizing. And when you reach a level like I showed you in the calculation example, then you can start introducing uh, different ad networks. For example, Google is very hard to target the keywords that are high in intent. For example, some it is very hard to differentiate between a buyer who's ready to move on and move into your sales process and the buyer who's just window shopping because he saw his neighbor buying a modular garden shed and yeah, so in Facebook, that's a lot easier because you can target also behavioral part of specific users. Uh, the price point above 5,000 euros question. So we got this two times. Why is this important? Because if you have, uh, it's not just the price point; it's basically the margins on the product. So if you have, let's say, 50% margin on a 100 euro product or a 20% margin on a 5,000 euro product, it gives you a lot more room to experiment. So that's the only reason. So if you spend like 20 euros per acquiring a lead in the first month, then the margin of the product won't survive it if it's a low price product. But if it's a high end product, price 5,000 and above, the margin is gonna be sufficient to cover the experimentation period because advertising is a beast on its own, so it never works out of the box the way it should, but you can make it work in about a month, but you need to invest something so you can play around with it. Can you integrate the configurator with Google Ads, Google Analytics? Yes. So the platform is by design. So we have a built integration with Google Tag Manager, and through Google Tag Manager, you can integrate Google Analytics and advertising pixels for all the advertising networks. And we support the e-commerce tracking by design. So all the configuration steps and the inquiry, we send the information to Google Analytics and to Google Ads through the standard e-commerce tracking that Google has implemented for commerce purposes. So that means when the customer submits an inquiry, we transfer information about the amount, the configuration that they did, and everything to all these platforms, and then you can use that to retarget and to build custom workflows in advertising. Okay, we have another one. Oh, so please don't forget the first questions. uh, I need to move there. Oh, so the ROI period for the modular manufacturer, well, house manufacturer. Um, Yeah, so the usual ROI period is around 3 to 6 months. So it depends a little bit how much focus you put on making this online sales channel work. And if you focus a lot on it, like the guys from Mizarsko Hrovat, or we have a different case, for example, for carports, where they made this funnel the main thing in sales, then the ROI is really fast, and the results you generate is really huge. For example, if you do look at our website, you will find um, I can show you just quickly. You can find the case study about carports. So we have it in the case studies here. Uh, So they saw a 40% increase in sales in the first 3 months. So the average price for this product is above 10,000 euros, and 40% increase brought the ROI down to less than 3 months. So you can check this case study. This kind of results are possible. You need to be able to invest something in building this entire funnel. You need to be able to invest something into marketing and really focus on making it work. Our team is always there to help you. So we are usually present for the first 3 months, very hands-on to help you make this funnel work. And by doing that, the ROI is usually very, very good and very, very short. Um, okay, we had another question. Your configurator is mainly based on B2C. Um, well, the case test I was explaining you today, they are more, let's say B2C focused, but we as a company do quite a lot of B2B. So we do B2B sales in different verticals where we have, let's say, existing customers that have